Hey, what is up, guys? Today is another great day. Some beautiful weather, and we are diving right into chapter 7 of the book of Revelation. So, chapter 7, like a few other Revelation chapters, they're interesting. They're almost like parentheses. Some of them are, oh, pause, let's look around and get a deeper image of what's happening right now. And some of them are, pause, let's look back and see what already happened. And then chapter 7 is one of the ones where it's like, pause, let's do something good. So we just had the first 6 seal judgments in chapter 6, and it's just God's wrath being poured out on the earth, kind of like it was in the days of Noah's flood. There's just destruction and chaos, and this is after that 3.5-year mark, where there's abomination that causes desolation, like we saw in Daniel chapter 9. But now we're pausing to do 2 good things. One, he's protecting some witnesses of God. And 2, he's saving some tribulation saints. So, it's split into 2 sections. There's the 144,000 sealed, and it talks about how there's 4 angels that are kind of holding back the wrath of God, that are about to let a bunch of wrath and judgment out onto the earth. And then there's another angel that comes up and is like, wait, stop. Before you do that, let's put a seal on the foreheads of 144,000 Jewish witnesses. And you are not to harm those people with the seal on. So I'm sure you're familiar with the mark of the beast, and that's what it is. It's the opposite of the mark of the beast. We'll get into mark of the beast in chapter 13, but this is God's seal saying, these are my people. And a lot of people think that it's just anybody, but it specifically says they're 144,000 from all the tribes of Israel in verse 4, and it goes to list 12,000 from each tribe. It's most likely literal, especially since we saw with the abomination that causes desolation at the temple in Israel, there's been a lot of working through Israel like God did in the Old Testament. So through the Old Testament, he went through and he's working through Israel all the way till Jesus. And then once Israel basically rejected Jesus, God's like, all right, I'm not dealing with you anymore. I'm dealing with the church. And it starts the church age. But now the church is raptured. So he's going back to Israel to work through them again. So he has these 144,000 witnesses that are not going to be harmed by this judgment and wrath on the earth. And I think they're pretty much guaranteed to, survive through the whole tribulation and make it to the end, which not many Christ followers will do at all. And then in the second half, we see a great multitude of people in white robes. And it says in verse 9, After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. It's something that no one could count. That's kind of a weird number. If you put, 5,000 people in front of me, I probably couldn't spot out that that's 5,000. You could put 5 million people in front of me, I couldn't count out that that's 5 million. It's a really broad and vague number. We have really no idea what it could be. But a lot of people seem to think that those 144,000 are the great multitude. As we see in verse 4, John says, I heard the number of those that were sealed. And then in verse 9 he says, After this then I looked and saw a great multitude that no one could count, from every tribe, nation, language, and people. So he seems to think, it's theoretically supposed to be from these tribes of Israel, but it's really everybody. But then we see that, one, they're standing before the throne of God, and the point of sealing them was so that they could witness to the earth, and so that they would not be harmed by the wrath. So why would they be standing in heaven before the throne? But then we can jump down to verse 14. Well, actually, in verse 13, an elder is talking to John, and he says, "You know, do you know these guys? Like, who are this great multitude?" And John's like, "Sir, you know." And he says, "These are they who have come out of the great tribulation. They have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." So these are the tribulation saints that have died because of their faith and are cleansed with the blood of the Lamb and are standing in heaven, just like the raptured church had been. We just kind of raptured up and we went to heaven. Now, during the tribulation, these guys died and just went to heaven. We're kind of just chilling together. And they're serving him now. It says in verse 15, "Therefore they are before the throne of God, and they serve him day and night in his temple, and he who sits on the throne will shelter them in his presence. Never again will they hunger, never again will they thirst. The sun will not beat down on them, nor any scorching light. For the Lamb at the center of the throne will be the shepherd. He will lead them to springs of living water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes." That doesn't really seem like something that would be happening on the earth. So how are they supposed to witness to the world if they're just serving him in the temple day and night? God wants these 144,000 to go out into the world to preach the gospel and to spread what is true. So this chapter 7, it shows a lot about God's heart. Yes, he wants the wrath, and he wants this sin to end, and he wants things to be just, and they are, but he also wants to save. His main desire in God's heart is to save. He wants everybody to be saved, and that's what he's doing. He's saving those who are worthy of being saved. He wants everyone saved. He wants you saved. So if you're not right with God today, get right with him. Dive into the Word. Read it. Because Jesus is coming soon. You don't want to be left behind. Love you guys. Peace.